Hey you guys, this is Tired Goth, and I wanted to do a quick computery type of episode of my TikTok shorts here. When it comes to creating security for yourself, right? A lot of people have this attitude like, oh, I have an app that can do that for me. I have support that can do that for me. I have people who can do that for me. I have a techie who can do that for me, blah, blah. Like, I don't feel like people are actually in touch with the fact that one of the reasons you should be boning up on your own security and your privacy is because the whole concept of privacy and security is to do things in a way where you yourself are the sole proprietor of your security and privacy. If you're in a situation where you're relying on other parties to handle your secure data, you're actually putting yourself at risk to be preyed upon. And like the perfect examples of this were people relying on their secure email apps and what they consider to be secure encryption through their apps to transport sensitive data, which breached HIPAA laws in 2017 when there was a massive data breach affecting the medical industry. People don't realize that one of the reasons that was such a threat is because A, political factors contribute to the fact that not only are we at war with other countries over data and the value of assets that are rooted in data and data protection being broken, but B, also the exploitation of that data in the case that people are sold in identity and signature on the dark web, right? We call it the dark web, like big whoop, right? It's called the dark web or the deep web because it is deeper in layer and in transport protocol than what is considered to be ClearNet, which is like a regular browser, right? If you're dealing with any type of internet related settings, you're dealing with layers upon layers upon layers of encoding, encryption, and translations to make sure that your data, no matter what it is, whether it's a text or a string of text, words, pictures, videos, whatever, it all gets transported from where you are to where you want it to go. In the case that you're working on something and it's very private and you send it over an insecure protocol, what's going to happen is people who hunt for this kind of data because it's useful for them to sell it and to basically sell you, your work, and your identity, you end up becoming prey in an environment where other people are actively hunting for this kind of thing, whether or not you understand it as such. And it's important to recognize that there are people who will not see you as a person when they're hunting for data that's meant to make them money illegally. It's a really ugly kind of situation when you're dealing as a person, as a human being with a conscience, in an arena where consciences are swayed by how much money they can make, whoever it is that's distributing your data, the proverbial they, by taking that data from you and making you vulnerable through your own provision. So when people rely on VPNs instead of building your own VPNs or their own security blocks through Yara rules or Bash rules or anything where they hand code the firewalls into something with numbers and ports that only they would really have the concept of, they leave themselves open to having those systems breached by other people to steal the normalized protocols that are used. So if I'm speaking Greek to anybody in the audience here, what I'm really trying to say is, if you don't know your own math to create your own blocks to keep people out, you're actually more at risk thinking that you're secure instead of worrying that you're not secure enough. And I don't say that to scare you. I say that to inspire you to dig deeper into your privacy, security, and your methods for autonomous protection. So, for example, if you suddenly wake up one day and decide, I want to have something as secure as Tor, but I want to know how to build it, the first thing you would want to do is hop on a forum and figure out how to calculate your own octets for an IPv4 subnet mask or something like that. you would want to learn how to use a VPN and maybe even program the VPN to bind to your address so that it sticks to it, and maybe even modify some of the protocols and ports used for that to kind of mask your data even further, so that what the standard protocols aren't used and instead are switched over to something else, if that's a possibility. I know Shadow Socks can do that, for example, as opposed to Bitmask or some other VPNs that are commonly used for free. You also have options of paying for VPNs, but I mean, if you can build these things yourself and you can get acquainted with how IP addresses and also web addresses generally work to carry that data from place to place by learning the OSI layer in a network, you're way better off. You're way better off. And I know it sounds like a lot of work, and people would say, well, I don't have time to learn something from the bottom up, from the ground up, but like, that's what builders do. And builders who really want to change things for the better so that your life is actually in your hands, so you know what you're doing with it, so that you have control over who tells you what your security is because you know it for yourself, you're just in a better place. You're in a better place with better data and more improved security settings and inferences, you know. It's something to definitely take into consideration. It's something that I've taught people in classes before. It's something that I continue to teach people. And I mean, if you have questions about how you can mod your bash shell, definitely send me a message. Let me know. But this is also like a Linux thing. If you're working in Windows, you can do the same thing more or less. But reliance on not only systems but protocols that are commonly known are no longer good enough when you have people who stake out in abandoned buildings and on porches with port scanners and all sorts of tools that you probably didn't even know existed to find out exactly where you are and where your data is so that they can target you because someone paid them to. And yes, that is a real job that some people have. You're better off knowing things for yourself and modifying things for yourself to stay a few steps ahead, to continue taking steps further ahead of those who would be hunting you. So I speak from experience, and I speak definitely from personal practice. If you'd like to know more, hit me up, G7. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great day.